Hey Mike, how are you?
Fine, and yourself?
Doing good. You're just showing off because I
I'd
can't do
love to
that.
rub that in.
I heard, speaking of rubbing it in, because I'm sure you want to rub in your awesome vacation to Hawaii. Oh my God, will you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. In fact, let me show you some pictures.
Oh, cool. Right on. And which
Okay.
um which island did you go to?
This time I went to Kauai, the Garden Island. This is
Okay.
my fifth time to Hawaii, but the first time to Kauai.
That's so
So compared to
cool.
the other islands, Kauai is a lot slower and more rustic, and it's less touristy. So I really like it. I would be happy to go there again, even over some of the other major Hawaiian islands.
Beautiful. And if
Okay.
you guys are just joining us, please feel free to put in your question that you want to ask Mike, and we will get to that in the order that it was received. But while we're waiting for people to come in and ask their questions, Mike is showing us his awesome Hawaii vacation.
Thank you. So this was the Airbnb I rented,
Uh-huh.
both floors. It was really big, and it was right by the beach, just like a 30-second walk away. And you can see a cat there by my feet. I don't even know if this cat had an old owner, but it was always hanging about, wanting attention. Um, so, and by the way, this house was located in Kikaha, which is in the southwestern part of Kauai, which is very residential. Didn't see any other tourists. It was extremely quiet. Um, so these chairs were right by the house, and you could just sit there and relax and watch the ocean or swim in the ocean if you wished. And one day we had a little bonfire right there. And here's me back at the house. Really nice, comfortable furniture. Went to a lot of different beaches. This is just one of them.
Who's Erica?
Erica is a friend of mine who taught me some Hawaiian before I left, so I wanted to acknowledge her, and I spelled her name wrong.
Oh no.
So, um, this is called Euler's identity. So you see behind me, it might be hard to tell, but there are some turtles. See, these are sea turtles that are just laying there in the sand. I had never seen one on the beach before. And you see all these people behind me. You didn't even need to snorkel to see fish. You could just stand there and look at them.
Wow. What beach was that? What was the name of it?
Okay, I was afraid you'd ask. Let me tell you. I think, okay, it's coming back to me now. This was the Poipu Beach.
Okay.
Okay, so Kauai is the oldest island and thus has more geographical or geological features, including what you see here is called Waimea Canyon, known as the Grand Canyon of Hawaii. Um, this is just a lookout. I wish I could have hiked down to the bottom of it, but I was with the family and had to do things the whole family could enjoy. Um, Chickens all over the island. Um, Everywhere you look, there were chickens. And you might say, I didn't notice chickens on the other islands. It's because on the other islands, they released mongooses, if that's the correct plural, which would eat the chickens, but they never did that on Kauai.
Did the roosters ever wake you up in the morning?
I like the sound of roosters,
Oh,
so they certainly were started crowing at like 4 in the morning, but I like that. Um, um, so this is a pier by the house I stayed at called the Waimea Pier, and this is called Glass Beach. Um, they call it that because there's a cemetery near there, and people like to leave jars for the flowers they would put in, and then storms would break these jars and wash the glass into the ocean where it would get smoothed out and wash up on this beach. But I really didn't find much because I think tourists collect it. But here's me with some pieces. All right, this is the town of Hanapepe, which is kind of like a small, artistic little town in southern Kauai. This is Waimea marks the spot where Captain Cook discovered Hawaii, and they don't really make a big deal about it in Hawaii, but this statue marks the place near where European explorers would have first landed in Hawaii.
Excuse my nerdum, but when I first saw that, I thought it said Captain James Kirk.
Okay, so I can't think of a good comment to that, but this is called the some kind of a spout, the spouting horn. So this picture doesn't do it justice, but you see where the water sprays out. Like, I don't know if you can see my cursor, but water like goes underneath a cave and it comes out of a little hole here and spouts high in the air. There's another picture of it. There's me with the spouting horn, and here's another picture of the Waimea Canyon. You can see a waterfall there. More pictures of Waimea Canyon. So this would have been a spectacular lookout over what's called the Nepali coast, but it was really cloudy, so you couldn't see anything. Okay, people my age might recognize this waterfall.
What?
Do you recognize it? You're probably too young.
I don't recognize it as far as like what you're thinking of.
Okay, well, let's see if anyone in the peanut gallery recognizes it. But I'll move on here. This is just another picture of the waterfall. You can see a chicken in the corner.
If you guys know the name of this waterfall, put it in the chat and we will see who is the winner. Also, too, if you guys have a question for the wizard, please put it in the chat and we will answer it in the order that it was received.
Yep. So I saw these red-headed birds all over the place. This is one on my car side view mirror. Just more chickens. This is a lighthouse near the airport that I hiked to. And this is a lookout from that same lighthouse. And this is the beach by where my house was. And I never thought that Hawaii had such long sandy beaches. This one was about 15 miles long and wide enough that you could drive cars on. I mean, on the other islands, there are beaches, but they're few and far between. But on Kauai, it has really nice beaches, even compared to the other islands.
That's really gorgeous.
So this is going back to Glass Beach. This is that cemetery that I mentioned, looking above Glass Beach. And so I took a boat ride to what's called the Nepali coast. The pictures don't really do it justice, but you see these just magnificent cliff walls with nice sandy beaches at the bottom. And I could have taken great pictures, but the boat ride was really rocky, and I didn't want to fuss with taking pictures while the boat was moving.
Were you looking at that thinking, I wish I could climb it?
To be honest, climbing that would be beyond my level, but there is a hike you can go to that gets to this beach you see right here. That is a hike along the coast. I really, really, really want to do that. That has been elevated to a very high position on my bucket list. You do need a permit to do it, but I really want to go back to Kauai on my own and do it my way and do the kind of adventurous stuff that I want to do. So this is a rare picture of me taken that day. More pictures of the Nepali coast. So this was the king of Kauai. Kauai was never conquered by King Kamehameha, by the way, and I think that independent spirit remains to this day, where Kauai seems more like its own entity as opposed to a part of Hawaii. I can never resist doing these stupid things where you stick your head through a hole.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
This is, whoops, I meant to edit out pictures of the family, but this is the Waimea swinging bridge. So this bridge bounces up and down. Lots of shaved ice in Hawaii. This is supposedly some famous place, and it was closed because they didn't have enough staff. That's what those signs on the windows say. Let me turn on the volume for this chicken here. Okay, let's play it again. Huh.
I believe the volume was still down.
Yeah, every time I rewind it, it resets to no volume.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm sorry. But anyway, I made a short video that shows pictures from my Kauai trip, including videos that I took. I don't want to bore the audience too much. You can find that if you could take off the share screen. I made that video on my Platypus Garden channel, which is where I put my non-gambling stuff. So I welcome you to visit that channel. I have lots of personal videos there. None of them have any advertising. So, yeah. Any questions about Kauai from you or the audience?
About Hawaii or Kauai, I'm sorry, in particular. If I say Kauai, I feel like I'm saying scary. Because in Japanese, kawaii means cute or scary, depending on how you say it. And it was a word that I love to say, but I always said it wrong. So I always said scary when I meant cute.
That seems weird that the same adjective would mean both cute and scary.
I know,
like if you
right?
told a girl she looked Hawaii, she could take it that she looked scary and get mad at you.
Yes, and I did that to a professor, and you don't want to do that to a professor that you were trying to get a good grade from. Did you go to Duke's? Richie wants to know.
No, there's a place called Duke's Barefoot Bar. I never did make it there, in part because I had a minor in my group, and the downside to my location was it was way at the end of the road that goes along Kauai. It does not go in a circle, and I was way at one end of it. So I never got very far from the town of Waimea.
Okay.
So, yeah, but when I go back on my own, I'm definitely going to go to Duke's.
So when are you going back?
Hopefully soon. This whole year is looking pretty full, but maybe next year.
That would be cool. Okay, ready for some gambling questions, or should we ask a trivia question first?
Okay, so today's trivia is, I'm going to name a quote, and you guys tell me whether it's from the Bible or Shakespeare.
So
and if you read my newsletter on this, I'm going to ask you to recuse yourself. Okay.
So whoever is the first one to answer this correctly is the one who wins.
Yep. Okay. The first one, to thine own self be true.
So if you know, put it in the chat. And while we are waiting, our first gambling question of the day is, with advantage sports betting being difficult, why not buy sports pick from a capper and just fade them if mostly their players are negative 110 or more for favorites?
So generally to fade means that you take the other side of a bet. If I understand the question correctly, my philosophy is the easiest way to make money in sports is to be the sports book. So I have booked a lot of action, probably over $1 million worth, in taking their bets from taking bets from them. And I charge whatever the casino line is. And a problem there can be getting paid. I've had a lot of people stiff me or slow pay me, just to warn you. But then again, I'm a nice guy, and as such, people take advantage of me all the time. So I hope that I understood your question correctly. But like Steve Wynn said, the easiest way to make money in the casino is to be the casino. Hope that
Yep.
answers the question.
And those are very wise words, words of wisdom. So we have people answering in the chat. And is it the Bible?
No, it is
No?
Shakespeare. It is
Oh,
from Hamlet. So,
Dice Emotion got that right.
yep, Dice Emotion. Looks like you get a point for being the first correct answer. And nice
Woohoo.
to see you. You get second place there. Okay. Okay.
And
Question. I'm sorry,
yes,
I interrupted you.
I interrupted you. What was the next question?
Okay. Okay. Number 2. Let us eat and drink, for tomorrow we may die.
Ooh, put that in the chat. First one who gets it wins. And while we are waiting, our next question is, you mentioned Euler's identity. In your opinion, what is the most useful application of Euler's number?
That's a really deep question that a PhD mathematician could probably talk all day about. But it's amazing that when you ask questions about probability, geometry, statistics, it seems like you see either E or pi in there all over the place. These two numbers just appear in nature everywhere. And to me, it's really amazing is not strong enough of a word. To me, it almost points to something that suggests that there is order in the universe, that there is like a creator, if I may use that word. Maybe I'm overthinking it, but you see E coming up all the time in questions of probability, and especially in analyzing like Super Bowl props. You have to use E all the time in the Poisson distribution, and just the way most things work in nature all kind of rotate around the number E. And I don't want to get too deep into that, but if you force me to an answer, I would say that E comes up all the time in calculus and probability.
And another one that comes up a lot is the golden ratio too, right?
That's not nearly to the degree that pi and E come up in, but the golden ratio, which I think is the square root of 5 plus 1 divided by 2, that is the answer to a lot of geometry problems. And there's a lot of infinite series that add up to that.
Cool. Okay, ready for the answer to the trivia question?
Yes. What does the peanut gallery say?
Is it Shakespeare?
It is not. That one is the Bible. And it usually comes up in a negative sense in the Bible, as in to discredit this philosophy. But places that mention the basically variance of the eat, drink, and be merry philosophy are Isaiah 22:13, Ecclesiastes 8:15, 1 Corinthians 15:32, and Luke 12:19.
So Joshua not only got the Bible, but he got Ecclesiastes. Is that how you say it?
Ecclesiastes, which I just said, Ecclesiastes 8:15. And by the way, I love the book Ecclesiastes.
Dude, just because you said the name doesn't mean I'm not going to butcher it. I know it was like 2 seconds ago. I'm still going to butcher it. Okay, what is our next trivia question?
Okay, the next one is, whoso findeth a wife findeth a good thing.
Unless you're getting a divorce. So if you know the answer to that, put it in the chat, Bible or Shakespeare. And while we are waiting for people to answer, our next question comes from, and I think this is a question, Dice Emotion. When using multiple box bets as a unit, such as, say, $66 inside, and pressing up by 1 unit for each win, say ending after 3 hits, how do you rate that compared to the pass line bet of 1.42%?
Oh boy. Did you ever deal craps, Heather?
Yeah, I dealt craps.
So when he says a box bet, what does he mean?
I'm assuming he's talking about a place bet or a come bet. You know, the boxes with the numbers on them.
Okay. Okay.
And you can press either a come bet or a place bet. So,
Well, the house edge on the place bets and the number bets in general is what it is, and it doesn't matter that you're pressing them or the reason that you're making them. So doing that is not going to be as good as the pass line bet at 1.41%. And like, let's say that it's your strategy to make a place bet at on the 6 or the 8, which has a house edge of 1.52%. And let's say that you let that ride. I would need to get out my calculator, but that doesn't fool that 1.52% house advantage. And I view letting that bet ride as making a whole new bet. If you didn't and you wait for it to win 3 times, then the house edge is actually going to look much higher. So I hope that answers that question.
Yeah. Basically, just to say what you just said, the house edges for the place bets and the come bets, all of them, doesn't matter what number you pick, all of them are going to be higher than the house edge for the pass line bet. And when you're trying to do like what's the best bet, you always want to pick what has the lowest house edge. And if that's the case, you would do like the don't pass line at 1.36%.
Well, to that, I would just say that the house edge on the come bet is the same as the pass line bet because it's the same bet.
Right. But the thing with the come bet is you have to hit the number twice versus a pass line where it technically is only hit once.
Well, I would disagree with you there. When you make a come bet, you
hit the number and then the money's gone to the bet, but then you have to hit the number again before you get paid. So technically,
you could also say that about the pass line bet, that you need to roll some number twice.
Well, no, pass line bet, it would only be once because you could do the pass line bet at any time. And the next number that hits, if you have a pass line, I'm thinking place bet. I take that back. I'm thinking place bet. Nix what I just said. I was thinking place bet.
Okay. Let's move on to a new question.
Do you want to see who won the trivia?
Yes.
Okay. So is it, let's get down here. Okay. Is it the Bible?
It is. And I see somebody wrote in Proverbs, which is absolutely right. So Blia Yang, you're right. That comes from Proverbs 18:22.
Woohoo.
Okay. So our next quote is, how about, for we brought nothing into the world, and it is certain we carry nothing out.
Okay, so if you guys know, put the answer in the chat. Did that come from the Bible or from Shakespeare? And as we are waiting, our next question comes from Billa. Do you know any sports betting sharps in Vegas?
I know some professional sports bettors. I don't want to just throw out their names, but
right.
Yeah, I know some people who make their living either in part or in full as professional sports bettors.
Okay. And since that was such a short answer, how about another question from Billa? Are all slot machines leased in Vegas?
No. A lot of the older ones were just purchased outright. When I worked at the Venetian, they just bought a lot of their machines. And when they didn't want them anymore, they put them in this enormous room. I don't even want to call it a room, just like a storage area. And then like one time I went down there and there were just hundreds, maybe thousands of slot machines. And they said that they sold them all to some casino in South America, I think.
Wow. Okay. Sounds cool. Shall we see who has the answer to the trivia question?
Yes.
Okay. So going. Is it from Shakespeare?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
Bible?
That kind of narrows it down. Yes, it is the Bible. That sounds Bible-y to me. And to be specific, it comes from 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 7.
Okay.
So let's go to another one. How about a merry heart doeth good like a medicine?
Cool. So put your answer in the chat. And as we are waiting, our next question comes from Joshua. And he says, when playing table games, do they rate your comps more or less based on if you are winning or losing? Or is it simply bet amount times HPM times house edge? Sometimes I hide chips when I'm doing well.
Okay, this gets discussed a lot at Wizard of Vegas about how exactly casinos comp. And I would say that formula you gave is like the baseline formula, which is like the starting point. Now, however, if you ask for a comp, the computer screen is going to show a figure based on that formula. However, a human being is going to actually look at the screen and they're going to see if you've been winning or losing. And your leverage is going to be better if you're losing. You know, it's happened to me a lot where I asked for a comp and they look at the screen and they say, you've been running pretty good here. Why don't you just use some of the money you won to get your comp? So it's first that formula. And I would say that formula is about 75% of it, and about 25% of it is whether you've been winning or losing.
Okay. And nowadays they even have it computerized.
It's been computerized for a long time.
I was talking about with I think it's IRF. Is that correct? The little. Oh, okay.
I don't know what that stands for.
There's a chip in the chip.
Oh, well, if you're talking about, yeah, the way things are moving is that there will be microchips in the chips, and the casino will be able to tell exactly how much you bet.
It's so interesting.
I think that this is still kind of in the testing phase, but I've seen this product at the gaming show for several years now, but I'm not aware of anybody using it yet.
I know a couple casinos using it. Before the Hard Rock was defunct, they were using it on their games. So you have like a chip in the your casino chip, and there's some kind of sensor on the betting circle, so the sensor can tell how much you're playing. And this also helps deter pinching and pass posting too, because they can tell. It's really interesting.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't know that was ready yet. But then again, now I think that I've heard about it. I've heard of people fooling that device by putting a chip under the table or something to get credit for bigger bets than they were really making.
Exactly. So the answer to your trivia question, was it Shakespeare?
Okay. Which was the one that I asked again? Just give me a few
To be
words.
or not to be, that is the question. Obviously Bible.
No, to be or not to be is from Hamlet. Do you remember what it was?
Oh,
was it for we brought nothing into the world and it is certain we carry nothing out?
Sounds good.
No, that was the previous one. That one is from 1 Timothy.
I don't remember.
Somebody in the peanut gallery remind me what the last quote was.
So if you guys know, put that in the chat. I'm watching. I'm looking. It was about medicine.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I believe I've already. Yeah. Yes, what does the peanut gallery say?
Okay, so we have. Is it Shakespeare?
Nope.
Okay, then Bible, Proverbs.
Yep, absolutely. It is from Proverbs 17:22.
Woo, good job.
Okay. How about the Prince of Darkness is a gentleman?
He is?
That's just the quote. I'm not saying whether he is or not.
That's not a complete, like, are you making a statement? No, I'm kidding.
No,
So
this
if
is a
you,
quote. And it's either from the Bible or for Shakespeare. It also is, there's a similar quote in the movie Sympathy for the Devil by the Rolling Stones, of course, but we're not talking about that.
What is your favorite Rolling Stone song?
Maybe the one that I'm just referred to, Sympathy for the Devil.
Nice.
Probably.
Okay.
You?
Joshua, what?
And yours?
What's the name of that? It's the really disturbing one with the warm gun or whatever. I only like one song, and it's the really disturbing one.
Not sure which one you're referring to.
I'll let you know.
I also really like Gimme Shelter.
Oh, okay.
That's probably second. Probably
Cool.
Third would be Mama's Little Helper.
I'm not a big Rolling Stones fan.
You know,
So-
I love probably like 20 of their songs, but they have just a lot of such an enormous volume of material over 50 years that, some of it doesn't strike me as good. Anyway,
Last Caress. That was the name of it.
let me write this down. What was it called again?
Last Caress.
The Last Caress.
Yeah, it's so disturbing. Joshua said, I watched several of your AMAs, but this is the first time I am joining live. So thank
Welcome,
you very
Josh.
much. Really do appreciate it.
Thanks for joining us.
And then from our favorite, absolute favorite, Anne says, what do you feel about the enormous reflective guitar that's going to be constructed on the Strip alongside the new Hard Rock Hotel?
Well, so in case for those who don't know what Anne's talking about, the Mirage is going to turn into a Hard Rock, and they're going to remove the volcano and put in a big guitar. I didn't know that it was going to be a reflective guitar. Well, first I will say that I welcome more competition in Las Vegas. So the fact that there's going to be another entity on the Strip, I think, is a good thing. I will say I kind of like the Mirage. I have a lot of good memories there. I will be sorry to see that go, but overall, I'm personally kind of bored with the volcano. I've seen it a million times. So I don't really care that much about the enormous guitar. But overall, I think it's a good thing just to have more competition on the Strip.
As long as it doesn't cause another death ray. We had that with Vidara. We don't need another death ray.
I've always kind of wanted to experience the Vidara death ray. And I stayed there once and I asked about it, but they said that it only happened during whatever times of the year. And when I was there, it was not that time.
Oh, darn. Well, before we continue on, I have a correction to make. Last Caress is not a Rolling Stones song. It is a Misfits song. So I just want to do a quick correction about that since we're here.
Okay. Yeah, no wonder I haven't heard of it.
Yeah, that just shows you I am not a Rolling Stones person because I don't know any of their songs.
Okay.
Ready for the answer?
Yes.
Is it Shakespeare?
It is.
Woo.
It is. Did anyone get the particular play?
No, they did not.
That one is from King Lear, Act 3, Scene 4.
Okay. Very cool.
Okay.
What is our next one?
How about a bundle of myrrh is well beloved unto me. He shall lie betwixt my breasts.
Do they can't say breast in the Bible, right?
Well, if that's your opinion, then clearly it would be Shakespeare. But I'm not going to answer that one way or the other.
Okay, sounds
Until
good.
the peanut gallery gets a chance to chime in.
So if you guys know the answer, put it in the chat. And then our next question is, well, first, Jose wants to say hi. So hello.
Hi, Jose.
Our next question is
Something, but go ahead and ask me.
okay, sounds good.
All right.
Go
ahead.
This is also from Anne. I hear a lot in poker about John Nash's game theory. Are you familiar with it? And if so, what do you feel is the biggest takeaway from that theory?
Okay. So the bottom line with John Nash's game theory is that we as both individuals and that we as society would make out a lot better if we cooperated more. And when people act selfishly, it may be a good thing for the selfish person, but he takes away more from society than he gets for himself. And a good example of this is with the prisoner's dilemma. You see this in shows like Golden Balls and Friend or Foe, where, and you've seen this on Survivor recently, is let's say that there are two people playing a game and the host puts out a prize of, let's say, $10,000. And he says, each of you are either going to vote friend or foe. If you both vote friend, then you split the money. If you both vote foe, then neither of you gets anything. But if one person votes friend and one person votes foe, then the person who votes foe gets the full 10,000. And so each person is individually incentivized to vote foe, because no matter what the other person votes, you'll make out equal or better if by voting foe. So by following that strategy of what's in it for me, you should vote foe. But if everybody acts selfishly like that, then nobody wins. So
now,
and you see this, all the time. Like, for example, I just, like on airplanes, when the airplane lands, like the way people both board and get off planes is terribly inefficient because everybody is selfish and wants to get on the plane and off the plane as quickly as possible. So you see it all the time that somebody in the middle of the plane has an enormous, heavy suitcase full of bricks, and they're 70 years old, and they take forever to get it out of the luggage bin and then to arrange it down the aisle and then to get out of the plane. And meanwhile, they are holding up everybody behind them. So it would be so much more efficient if people that didn't have stuff in the bins got out first, and then maybe like people with just light items that can get it and get out quickly, and then they get out. But in general, the rule of thumb should be do not encumber the people behind you. If you have a heavy object in the bins, then just wait for there to be nobody behind you who you're going to inconvenience to get it out. So yeah, that's basically the takeaway. I could talk about it for a long time.
So did you have that happen when you were going on your trip to Hawaii, where
you see this on 100% of flights? 100%. Because it's just the mentality is of how do I get off this plane as fast as possible and screw everybody else. But when everybody thinks that, then it takes forever to get off the plane.
Yep. Okay, ready to do the answer to the trivia?
Yes.
Okay, sounds good. Was the answer to the trivia, let's see here, let me find my place. Was it Shakespeare?
Nope.
Ooh, how about Bible, Song of Solomon?
Yes, very good. Yes notes. You know your Bible. Good job. Yes, it's absolutely from the Song of Solomon, chapter 1, verse 13. And you will see the word breast all over the Song of Solomon. It's basically a love poem. And a good trivia question that I've asked before is which two books in the Bible do not mention God at all? One is Song of Solomon and the other is Esther.
Okay. Very cool. So what is our next trivia question? And before you ask it, I just have to say, I thought the Bible was supposed to be G-rated, kid-friendly. I did not know that it was R-rated.
Oh, the Bible is extremely violent.
Oh, I'm glad my parents gave me one to read when I was a kid, and I'm glad I never read it.
Oh yeah, I mean, I have. There's, in the Old Testament, God would order people killed, over very minor things. I mean, and if you don't believe me, like read the story of the Song of Solomon. That has a lot of pretty graphic violence in it, and yeah, just the whole crucifixion itself was very gory. So, and yeah,
And
all
you,
kinds of sacrificing of animals, stuff like that. The Bible is definitely not G-rated. Definitely not. Of
so that
course, the way they present it to kids is just with the soft parts, and anything that does involve death, they always smooth over, like the story of Noah and the ark. God killed every living thing on earth except for one ark full of people and animals. He drowned them all. That sounds pretty vicious to me, but nevertheless, that's not the way, shall we say, it gets depicted most of the time.
okay. So basically, I should believe the movie with the really hot Jesus that all the women like die over.
Which movie is that?
Something of the Christ.
Are you talking about Last Temptation of Christ?
If he was hot and women wanted to bang him, then yes, that's what I'm talking about.
All right, well, let's get off this topic.
Okay. What is our next trivia question?
How about, Lord, what fools these mortals be?
Put your answer in the chat. Is it Shakespeare or the Bible? And while we were waiting, we have a question from Roscoe. For Ultimate Texas Hold'em, would you ever vary the bet size by whether the table is running hot or cold?
Nope. I'm definitely not into streaks and betting systems. It depends on the reason I'm playing, but if I am playing just to, shall we say, get the points, I'm going to be flat betting, and it doesn't matter how the table's been running. The cards do not have a memory.
Okay.
So simple answer there.
Very simple. Do you want to do another question?
Sure.
Okay, so our next question is from Bookmaster. In Blackjack 8 decks, the house edge is around 0.5%, but I have calculated with all combinations, permutations, and I have around 3.7%. Do you think I made a mistake here?
Yes. Yeah, obviously you did. You and I might be within, say, 0.1%, and that difference might be whether, some fine points like how do we deal with splitting or things like that. But 3.7% is definitely way off. And I don't know where you went wrong, but it's somewhere. And by the way, you can always, if you don't believe me, Blackjack can be analyzed in Excel if you assume an infinite deck. And I have a video on how to do that.
Very cool. And how can they find that video?
If you go to my gambling channel, The Odds Must Be Crazy. No, that's this channel. My gambling channel is just Wizard of Odds. You'll find it under there.
Okay, sounds good. And should we see the answer to the questions, the trivia questions?
Yes, what does the peanut gallery say?
Okay, so the peanut gallery has said, lots of comments. I hate luggage. I agree. Oh, looks like we don't have any answers. That can't be correct.
Well, I see.
There we go.
Sounds like Shakespeare.
Was it Shakespeare?
So yes, that one is indeed from Shakespeare, in particular, A Midsummer Night's Dream, Act 2, Scene 2.
That's a good one. I like that one.
I had to read that in high school, and I liked it.
I was in the play.
Oh,
I
really? Who
was,
did you play?
I think I was a gay guy. I can't remember. It was a really small minor character that had no significance at all, but I think I was playing a guy, which was the interesting part. And it was
Did
like
you
a
pull
gay
it off
guy.
well?
Oh God, no, I was horrible. Are you kidding me?
You,
That's probably
you,
why I had such a small part to begin with.
well, do you think that people in the audience knew you weren't really a guy, or
Oh
was
yeah. Well, I don't know, maybe.
okay?
I think I had short hair back then. Uh, Billis says, as an atheist, I salute you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. So, okay. Next trivia question.
Okay. Yes. Let's see. How about all that glisters is not gold?
Glisters or glitters?
It is glisters. That's how they said it at the time of Shakespeare and the writing of the King James Bible.
They had not experienced glitter bombs. They experienced glister bombs. That sounds horrible. Okay, so our next casino question is from Roberto. What does pseudo random number generator mean? Is it predictable?
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, to be honest, I don't know what the pseudo implies. So here's a rare one where I'm going to say I don't know. I'll look that up though.
Cool. So we will know the answer to that on our next live stream. Do you want to do another question?
Yep.
Okay, so another question is, we have lots of Shakespeare and Bible comments in here. Okay, are the payback percentages higher on the higher denominations?
In general, they are. Indeed. The rule of thumb is that the higher in denomination you go, the higher the RTP is. This is especially true in like high limit rooms. And the gaming control board even breaks this down of the overall return of slot machines by denomination. And you can clearly see that as you go up in denomination, so too do you go up in return.
Sounds good. Should we do one more question or see what the answers are?
Let's see what the answers are.
Okay. And someone said, you have a really awesome Atari shirt.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yes, this is the old classic logo, and I was a teenager during the time of the Atari 2600, and boy did I play that a lot.
That's fantastic. What was your favorite game?
Adventure.
That was good.
Loved adventure, and second would probably be chess. I played the Atari chess game probably thousands of times because I don't think they even had portable chess computers back then. And I set up the pieces on a table, and I remember the computer could take like up to 10 minutes to make a move. That's how slow it was. And it's not like it played a great game at that either, but but I had no one else to play against.
I used to love to play Pitfall.
Pitfall. I never really liked Pitfall that much, but I also liked Combat, Air Sea Battle, Breakout, Surround, Indy 500, and I'm sure I'm forgetting some.
So was the answer to the trivia question the Bible?
It was not.
So it was Shakespeare. Dice Emotion got that.
Yep. To be particular, that was from the Merchant of Venice, Act 2, Scene 7.
Very cool. Okay. Next trivia question.
Okay, how about, what's a good one? How about men of few words are the best men?
Okay, if you know the answer, put it in the chat while we are waiting. Is it ethical to throw out winning slots? Or winning?
Well, in general, I would say that a casino would be really stupid to throw out winning slot players if the reason they were winning is due to simple luck. They should be the first players that the casino treats really well, hoping that they lose those winnings back. So, but it really kind of depends on the reason the player was winning. If it was through advantage play, then to be honest, I wouldn't blame the casino for throwing out that player. It happens all the time in video poker. Casinos are allowed to do it, and it's just part of the cat and mouse game that I do believe in.
Okay. Do you want to do another? Well, it's not a question, it's a statement. He says, you are a god sent for sending me or getting me off of the slot machines and playing video poker. I had 3 royals in a 3-month span. Thank you so much.
You are welcome, and thank you so much for saying that. You know, one thing that I like to joke is that I am trying to convert slot players to video poker every chance I get. And I've always said, and the number of converts that I made, to the best of my knowledge, is 0. So now I have a convert. I
Now you
probably
have one.
might have.
Now you got one.
Yes. So that's that. I'm going to put a notch on my bedside post. And but yeah, absolutely, slots are a really fast way to lose your money, and video poker is the odds are significantly better. So, and furthermore, I just think it's more fun. But for the most part, slot players are slot players, and there's just no way to convert them. But
Yeah.
it's good to know I finally was successful.
Now, the answer to the trivia question, is it the Bible?
It was men, a few words are the best men, right?
Yes.
Nope, that one is Shakespeare.
Woohoo.
So
very nice.
So I see some people said Shakespeare, to be particular. That is King Henry V, Act 3, Scene 2.
Beautiful.
Okay.
What is our next trivia question?
Okay, how about let not thy left hand know what thy right hand doeth?
I have the wrong type of mind for that. Sorry. Ready for your next question?
Yes.
In craps with the Ats Bet, if you lay a final box number, how does that change the house edge?
Oh boy. Okay, question. Heather, you're the dealer. What does ATS stand for?
Actually, I have no idea. That's why I said ATS and not whatever it stands for. So if you have Dice Emotion, could you let us know what ATS is? I'm not remembering.
But I will say that the house edge is the house edge, and it doesn't matter when you make the bet, why you made the bet. The house edge is always the same.
There you go. Okay. We'll do another question since that one was easy. What do you think of Sam Grafstein's book on craps? From the table of contents, I'm guessing that he has the math level of a middle schooler. Oh my.
I've never read it, so can't comment. But in my opinion, many gambling books are written by people that have that have a junior high level of math.
Yeah.
And don't want to name any specific names, but and unfortunately, these are probably the books that sell the best because they have titles implying some easy way to beat the casinos. The sad truth is that it's really hard to just cut down the house advantage but the house will still have the advantage most of the time.
Yeah.
So that doesn't sell books, but it's the truth.
If you see a gambling book in a thrift store, then you can just assume it didn't work.
Well, to be honest, there might be good gambling books in thrift stores too, because the reader just found them too boring or to read, and they got rid of it.
Okay.
Um, I mean, I'll be honest. I've seen my book in used bookstores.
No, are you serious?
I mean, my book is not for everybody. If you want a book that's going to say there is an easy way to beat the casinos, my book is not for you.
Well,
If you want a book that's math heavy with complicated strategies that's just going to cut down the house advantage, then my book is for you.
I'm guessing the cat pushed the book off the shelf, and that's why it went into this thrift store box. That's what I think.
Well, I mean, everybody's looking for an easy way to get rich, an easy way to good health, an easy way to live a long life. Everybody wants everything the easy way. But the sad reality is that in most things, there is no easy way, and you have to work hard for what you want.
Yeah. They want the rock star body without actually having to do the push-ups and the sit-ups. And
Yep. I mean, I look at fitness sites sometimes, and you see so many ways of get a CrossFit full hour workout in 5 minutes without breaking a sweat.
yeah, no.
It's a scam.
Okay, I'm not going to bring that up because that's actually not kid friendly and it will probably get me in trouble. So,
Okay.
the answer to the trivia question, was it the Bible?
Okay. I have to remember which. So was that the verse, let not thy left hand know what thy right hand doeth?
Yes, that one.
Yes, that is indeed the Bible. Good job, Gary. In
Ooh.
particular, it is from Matthew chapter 6, verse 3.
Very cool.
So I need to end this on time. So let's just do one more.
Okay.
How about, oh, that my head were waters and mine eyes a fountain of tears.
So if you guys know the answer to that, is it the Bible or Shakespeare? Put it in the chat. While we are waiting, our next question comes from Technics. Does the variance of the random number generator in video poker machines lessen when the minimum bet amount increases?
Okay, the RNG does not have variance. A random number generator is just picking a random number. The variance comes from the game itself. It's how that random number generator gets mapped to a playing card or the roll of a dice, a keno ball, whatever. So people misuse random number generator terminology all the time. What I really think that you're asking, and I have to lean over to read the question, does the variance of video poker in general increase or decrease as the bet amount changes? So to that, I would say that the way the cards are picked in video poker is completely fair and random. Every card has the same chance, and there's no correlation between the cards. And there's going to be more variance if you play according to how you play. Like if you aggressively go after royals, you're going to see more variance, of course. Now, if you play optimal strategy and there's no change in the pay table, then the variance is going to be exactly the same no matter what the bet amount is. Now, I should also mention that if you play optimal strategy, that be sure to make that full 5-coin bet so you get the full 4,000 coins on a royal. If you don't, you're only going to get 250 times your bet, which would change the strategy to not go after royals so aggressively, which would lower the variance. But yeah, so I hope that answered that question.
Very, very cool. And shall we see who the winners of the trivia question are?
Yes.
Okay. Is it Shakespeare?
Nope.
No. Ooh.
It is not. Nope. Anyone say the Bible?
Is Lamentations?
Lamentations. That's a pretty good guess. It is the Bible, and it is close to Lamentations, but no, it is in Jeremiah chapter 9, verse 1. And I kind of view Lamentations, Isaiah, and Jeremiah as kind of all one big enchilada. So good guess. Partial credit there.
Very cool. Now, when is the next time we're going to be doing a live stream? And
okay, let's
if you guys didn't have your answer, if you didn't have your question answered, please come back next time and try to get your question in as early as possible. We do try to go in the order that they are received. Sometimes my computer stinks and I skip some. So no offense, just come back and ask them again and we will eventually get to it.
How about May 5th?
May 5th sounds good.
The Cinco de Mayo.
Cool. Same time, 3 p.m. Pacific Standard.
Yep.
Beautiful. I'm looking forward to it.
Yes, and maybe we'll have some Spanish trivia in honor of Cinco de Mayo.
Oh, that would be fun. Definitely looking forward to this. Well, thank you so much. Really do appreciate it. And
well, thank you, Heather, for producing the show.
Yeah.
And for being my Ed McMahon, for those who remember the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson. And definitely. Thank you, audience, for all your questions and for participating.
And watching.
I just realized I forgot to get to some Wizard of Vegas questions. There weren't very many, but my apologies to the people who sent those. And I will have to get to those next time.
Sounds good. Well, I'm looking forward to it. Have a great day, everyone, and we will see you again.
Okay. Bye, everyone. Bye, Heather.
Bye.